Step one, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
Well, TGIF to all the Coffee Club members that are out there this early in the morning. It's 5 o'clock. TGIF, we are going over a case we have not covered in several years as a child starts seeking justice. Michael Monkey Vaughan.
Today's gonna be a good day. Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up.
Well, welcome to all the people that don't sleep out there. I see we have a few, so come on in. We've got a lot to talk about.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
You guys, we would be up early this morning, so I don't want to hear nothing from you. Welcome to this Bullhorn Betty crazy channel. Well, hello hasn't been quite years. It hasn't been quite years. We did discuss when we started moving with this case. Every twist and turn that has happened in this case, we have been there. We've even went out to Fruitland, Idaho to search for this young boy. And I also had an opportunity to meet his mother, which at the time started being accused of having something to do with her son. And we had put her on a pedestal because at the time Michael Monkey Vaughan disappeared was around the time that Summer Wells disappeared. So Summer Wells disappeared June 15th, Michael Monkey Vaughan July 27th, okay? That is the dates of these kids. So he was right behind, and you saw a big difference in the type of activity the parents were doing, the behaviors the parents were exhibiting, polar opposites in the Michael Monkey Vaughan case versus the Summer Wells case. In Michael Monkey Vaughan's case, we had a situation where the father was home. Michael's father was home. His name's Tyler Vaughan. And at the time, he was taking care of the child. Some of his story for us when he was saying it didn't make sense. So at the beginning, we were looking for a boy. We noticed that they were turning over every stone, the parents, both of them. And then, of course, we had Summer Wells, where we had, lumps on logs, known as Don Wells and Candace Bly, right? So we were comparing these two to Michael Monkey Vaughan. Mike, be careful with what you're saying in my chat, because I'm a Christian lady, and I'm sorry, I do not believe that the Quran is a religion. So please don't piss in my Cheerios first thing in the morning. I'd greatly appreciate it. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't be pissing in Betty's Cheerios. Somebody make sure that's Mike. Let's see if Mike is joking or just lost Michael's. Maybe Michael. Do you need some Big Macs? I'm just asking for a few coffee clubbers. That's all. Anyways, guys. There was a lot of things that started flipping around. As time went on, people started saying, well, we never really looked at the parents. So then this was campaigned, started clubbing Brandy over the head, started clubbing Tyler over the head. Good gracious, right? And so J.D. Huff, which I met, very nice guy, by the way, the police chief out there, he basically did a press conference and said, we're not looking at the parents because other evidence that we were not known. And I talked to, Alana. Lana has been helping Brandy for quite a while. And when we went out there, Lana decided to reach out and kind of guide a little bit, give us what information they were able to give us. Nothing that it went to the integrity of the investigation by any stretch of the imagination. Everything was basically up to our, basically up to us to deal with. And what we did know is that there was a dog that hit on a house. We did know that. And we knew that the house was not on this side. It was on the other side. But it didn't stop our investigation. We still had to go out there and make sure that the information was accurate. We still had to go out there, knock on everybody's doors, find out, how the community is. Had they ever heard of anything? Did they see anything suspicious? We're just coming back around just to see what's going on. We're going to be out here. We met with the drone guy, the guy that got his drone up in the sky. If you go read the history of this case, we got the guy that put the big drone. There was a huge drone out there, $30,000 drone, probably more expensive than that if brand new. And one of the neighbors shot it out of the sky. So this drone guy had major damage to his very expensive drone. He was, he volunteered that. He didn't have a whole lot of money. We tried to get it fixed, but we had a little bit of following there, but nothing to the tune of what we've got now. And so we weren't really able to help him out too much, but we did try to get him some money to help fix that drone. But I met him in a park on the way out to the airport and was able to interview him. And one thing that was noticeable is that Brandy and Tyler did everything right. Everything that they could possibly do right in a situation like this, they did. And so it was determined, and I told people when I came back, which I had a hard time believing. One of the reasons why I went out there is because there were so many people starting to feel that, and of course, when you start thinking there might be some suspicious behavior, every bit of their behavior starts turning suspicious. in all fairness, it's just crazy. It's crazy how you start looking. It's like, oh my God, did you hear what they said? Did you hear how they said it? So you got to be very, very, very careful not to get sucked in and not to lose all, perspective. And so, not long story short, we were hearing these things and I just couldn't for the life of me. Kind of been putting this lady on a pedestal, comparing her next to the freaking Wells family that did absolutely squat for their children in the case, and it's just it's upsetting. It's upsetting that we are here. It's upsetting that people in the community, but more importantly, some of the stuff I'm already starting to hear is very highly disturbing for me, because I'm wondering how we're going to hear some things that are going to bother you guys. If you guys are not familiar with this case, Stacey Wandra is going to trial for felony homicide right now. He has acknowledged his wife unalived this boy, put him in a duffel bag, and buried him in their backyard. He's saying his wife did that. So it makes you wonder what in the world happened inside that house, and why would they take this child? This child was kidnapped off the streets, and that's the reality of this case. And this does happen. It doesn't happen. Stranger danger abductions are very rare. This is one of those rare cases. It's a very upsetting case. This boy was young. He deserved to thrive, if not for being in the wrong or having these piece of shits move in. These were garbage people. Like the house they lived in was a paid off house by Sarah's mom and dad. This dude here is adopted. Sarah's got some things wrong with her. Why they thought this was okay? We're there was nobody here watching them, and they are both not right upstairs. So is that going to play into this case? I don't know, because in my opinion, I still think even if they weren't right upstairs, they knew what they were doing was wrong. Otherwise, they wouldn't have buried him. They tried to cover it up, and that's the problem I have. That means they knew what they were doing was wrong. What they were doing was wrong. And 4 people were involved. How do you convince 4 people to do something like this? It just doesn't make sense. So anyways, we're not going to spend too much time on my opinions, my thoughts, all this other stuff. The bottom line is that Stacey Wandra is finally going to court. I'm a little upset that we don't have 3 other people arrested and charged with this, because 3 other people should be arrested and charged. It sounds like Stacey Wandra is one person that had the least amount of activity in all of this. Now, again, I can't guarantee that. That's what his side of the story is. Their side of the story might be he's the crazy one and did all this and forced them to all shut up. We don't know truly what happened, but we know 4 people were involved. That's what we know. We know 4 people were involved. But here's the kicker. The statement he tells his mom is the most problematic for me. And it's the most heart-wrenching. But it does let me know who exactly Sarah Wandra really is. I think Sarah Wandra should be charged with, she should be an RSO. Because what he's describing here, in my opinion, are predatory in nature. And you're going to hear it when you hear it. We kept all thinking it was like Brandon or this, and very well, Brandon is a dirtbag, and so is Adrian. They're all dirtbags. But it's the statement he tells his mother that is really the most problematic for me. So we're going to go ahead and roll this out. This is a very hard case for me to cover, because a young boy was kidnapped from his front yard, and he's never been found again. He's gone. He's gone. We've been looking for him since 2021. 2021. 4 people know what happened to him. 4 people know where he is. 4 people still remain silent at this time. A mother, a community, a family, friends are all grieving this horrific loss and this stain on their community by these monsters that lived among them. So we know that they were in court. We know Stacy was in court. This was, I believe, his preliminary hearing. And, of course, Brandy and Tyler testified. We do have some of that testimony here. We do have some of that information here. This had to be amazingly hard. But I'm sure also in the same sense empowering, because Brandy and Tyler have been fighting for so many years for justice for their boy. Brandy almost lost her battle. She had liver issues. I thought she was going to die. I thought she was never going to see justice for her son. I cried. It broke, like, even here. I mean, I am literally holding back, some emotion, because it moves me in such a way to think that this mom fighting for her son almost lost her battle and may have never. And there is a lot of families, folks, that have lost their battle with life while their loved ones still remained missing. And that just broke my heart that we were getting so close, so stinking close, and we were looking at losing Brandy. She had a successful liver transplant. As you know, she's much heavier than she was. I keep wondering how long she had liver problems and didn't even know it, because she was just such a just paper thin lady, just skin and bones, just truly skin and bones. She's beautiful, but she was just skin and bones. And of course, losing his son, I'm sure, did not help at all by the time we saw her. So seeing some fullness in her face and seeing her look, healthy, it's a wonderful sight. Personally, just seeing her really, because to be honest with you, I wondered if she was truly going to lose her battle while she fought for her son. So we're going to skip some of this. We'll come back to it because this is the one I really want you guys to watch. This is pretty lengthy. As I told you, if you guys are on the replay crew, we're probably already in another live. So you might want to come over to the live that we're doing at 9. If you're on the replay crew, because we did this Michael Monkey Vaughan case very, very, very early this morning, because there's a lot of new details in this. And this is very much probative, and we covered this case extensively. Michael Monkey Vaughan was an extensively covered. We made a tour out there. If I spend money and invest money to go out to a site, to go out and do searches, that means I'm invested in that in a good outcome. Not a good. I mean, the outcome's already crappy. Let me rephrase that, because that did not sound right. But the bad guy going to jail, the silver lining, the good news out of this horrific tragedy and preventable situation. So we have a vested interest in seeing all 4 of these people go behind bars. One, they are a threat to our community, and they have been walking among us entirely too long. Period. Entirely too long. So let me get on the right side of this. I want to get this up a little bit bigger. Give me just a second. Oops. You hit one thing and it pulls you off of it. It drives me freaking nuts. Good gracious. Okay. There. Oh, no, that's not what I want to do. I want to do this. There we go. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to make it a little bit bigger. Just trying to make it a little bit bigger so we can all see. You guys don't come here to be blinded. And you don't come here from a bedhead Betty. You guys come here to see. Okay, so I'm not going to be watching chat, guys, because when we're watching video and I'm trying to listen for things and talking points, it makes it very, very difficult to monitor chat, what you guys are talking about, or anything that's there. So I will try to go back and read the chat after we get done with this. This is about 28 minutes. So I'm pretty sure by the time I'm done talking throughout this, it's going to be about an hour. So talk amongst yourselves. I will try to get it. If you guys need me to see something, I hate doing this because this, we got small people, small numbers here. I will try it, and I don't think it's going to be necessary, but if you absolutely want me to hear, then there's a super chat and a super sticker. I don't think you're going to need to do that. I am going to try to go through the questions, but because this is an hour, this is going to most likely be an hour that I'm not paying attention to chat. It's going to be, depending on how much conversation throughout this, is going to be a little difficult. So that's all I'm just saying. So just bear with me, and I will try to get through all the questions that you guys have after this is. But sometimes you guys think when I'm watching these videos, I can pay attention more to the chat, and that's not necessarily true in this case, because I'm waiting for specific spots in this video to discuss. Okay, so just bear with me.
Just for the record, this is Exhibit 14, which has previously been admitted.
And this is his call with his mom. This is his foster mom, or his adopted
Hey,
mom.
buddy.
Here it is.
What's happening?
I gotta be honest with you. Before we get started, let me just say this. If you guys, I do have to put this because this was a hard case. Any like Quentin Simon, that was a hard case for us as a true crime community, for us as anything. Some of the statements here might bother some people. If you have been violated, abused, or anything like that in your past, and it makes it difficult for you to watch these things, I do not put disclaimers on true crime, folks. True crime is what it is. You guys are here knowing the risks of true crime. This stuff is emotional, it's real life, and it is disgusting, deplorable, and inhumane. Okay? That is true crime. It's sad. It's sad what human beings will do to one another. But if this case, it touches you or moves you in a way that you weren't expecting, please just step away. None of the cases that we cover are worth your mental health. Okay? I'm not going to, I usually don't give disclaimers on this, but again, I'm going to be talking about some sensitive topics here that might not feel comfortable for some of you. And some of that is going to be related to SA, RSO type of things because of some of the statements that Stacy is making here. And I've got to do it in such a sensitive way that it does not violate the rules of YouTube for suitability. But if it does rise to that, it's okay. It's not going to stop us from talking about cases, right? At the end of the day, the cases and getting the information is the most important of the task at hand. So this is the information that's not, in my opinion, getting enough attention. There is a trial for a case that we were all very much involved in 5 years ago, Michael Monkey Vaughan. Now we're starting to see some fruition. I want to hear this. I want to hear this trial. I want to know what's going on with this case. I am ready to start seeing justice for one of our cases from back then. We here on this channel never believed Brandy or Tyler were responsible. It got to the point where there was so much noise about it that we did look under the hood, but we were never accusatory. We never blamed Tyler or Brandy. We did ask the tough questions, though. Could they be involved? But we never have ever accused these parents of ever being involved, especially in light of seeing, when you compare this case to Summer Wells, how many people, let me ask this, by shows of ones and twos, how many of you guys have been with me since Summer Wells? If you've been with me or watched me since Summer Wells, put a 1 in the chat. If you haven't, put a 2 in the chat. Let's just get to the first question. Were you watching me during Summer Wells? Your hair? Oh, thank you. It's getting better. It's getting better. I'm liking it. And it was funny because Christina Randall put a video out about hair, and it's funny because it is all about not going and buying all the expensive shit. And it is really stopping using all of the stuff in your hair because you're just getting bare bones. Okay, so we do have a few people that have been here. If you guys recall, I mean, we compared how Brandy was acting to how Candace and Dawn were acting frequently. So it was so hard for me to now look at Brandy and Tyler like they could have done something with their son because we had been putting them on the pedestal. But, you know, we were working at that time. We didn't realize how toxic Eve was. And, you know, as a true crime community, and back then that was, you know, that was still the beginning, the infancy of this show. So I didn't know who good creators were, who bad creators were. You know, I didn't know that there was drama community. You know, I just felt like when I got here and we started going out to these places, we were just getting clubbed over the head by all these other content creators that stayed home and in all sense, never went out, just stole other people's content and stuff like that. That was wrong. And we were curious. We wanted to find out what truly happened. We had a passion for the truth. And so it was really hard for me to jump. I mean, even with some of the people that I was asking questions to that had been out there and saw their behavior, like I had some people call in and just say, you know, and even then you could tell, yeah, well, maybe it was kind of like the behavior was a little, it could have been portrayed as a little off, but you know, they're missing a child too. We got to take that into consideration. You can't be freaking mentally acute whenever your whole world is falling apart. I mean, you know, I mean, the other day when I went to a meeting over Carol and they did that tribute, like I was done for the day. Like my brain just stopped working. I can't imagine, you know, missing a child and going through all of this. So the long story is that there was a lot of back and forth with Brandy and Tyler and some of the community later on in the story, definitely not at the beginning, in my opinion. And to hear this and to know what happened and now to hear his explanation of what's true and what's not true, it's how he says that he lost his life is the most problematic, and it is the reason why I said this really sounds like RSO type stuff, you know, and SA type of stuff here, because and it sounds like it was Sarah. It was Sarah. I mean, I want you guys to pay attention to this. So because of that, I'm putting this disclaimer on. So please, 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 if you guys have problems, please, you know, excuse yourself. Nobody's going to blame you from not wanting to hear this. Hey, Pete, it's nice to see you. Did I say hi to you guys this morning? I don't even know if I said hi. Let me say hi to everybody this morning. The Real Me Too. Seth, it's nice to see you. Deanna, good morning. Deanna May, good morning. Tasha, there we go. I'm sorry, my hooked on phonics. My mind skips a beat every now and then. Please forgive me. Missy Motormouth, it's nice to see you. YouTuber Patty, Deborah, it's nice to see you. Tessie, hello. Who else do we have here? If you're new, don't forget to sub up and subscribe. Mike is up in the house. I don't know what that was all about, but up in the house. Mike is. It's late. I've been up for hours. I figured as much. I'm like, you kind of made me skip a beat. Huh? What the hell is that? That's okay. We knew you weren't feeling well. Downey, it's nice to see you. 100 proven too. It's nice to see you. The Real Me Too. It's nice to see you. Faye, good morning. Good morning. Bridget, it's nice to see you. Good morning. Nana, nice to see you, love. I hope you're doing well. Faye, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Who else do we have? Vicky, good morning. Melanie, did I say hi to you? I don't even think I said hi to you. Lisa B, it's nice to see you. Tina. Who else do I have? I think I got everybody. If I missed you, I'm sorry. You can smack me. I'll smack myself. Cinderella, it's nice to see you. Jewel, it's nice to see you. Hello. I see Pete come in. It's nice to see you. Let's make sure. Keep going. Polka Dot, it's nice to see you. Good morning, love. Trust the process. Blessed Happy Nana, good morning. Cheyenne, good morning. It's nice to see you. Downey. Hello, my loves. Nerdy Girl, it's nice to see you, love. There's Pete's. Mama, it's nice to see you. If I didn't see you, I'll try to catch you before. I'm glad I got to say good morning to all of you before we got started because this is going to take some time. All right, guys, we're getting into it again. This is going to bother me a little bit, but we're going to stop and discuss.
Just got done talking to the detectives.
Yeah, how'd that go?
Told them everything.
Yeah,
I hate the
I'm
echo.
proud of you for that, babe.
It's so hard to hear them because of the way the audio is, but we'll try. We'll try. Hey, Dee, it's nice to see you, love. Good morning.
I know it wasn't easy. I know it wasn't easy.
He's crying. If he's crying, guys, I mean, this idea, I know people say, well, maybe he lied about it and this, that. I mean, you can tell by behavior of people. From what I hear, the dogs went to their house. The dogs went to their house and they saw some type of a child toy, a bike, or a little push thing or whatever. This, it at the very beginning of this case, this house was marked. It sounds like.
Sorry.
We just didn't know.
I know you are, babe. I know. Huh? Sweetheart? I know. I know. I know, babe. Were you completely honest with him about everything? Okay. That's very important,
She's a good mom, I mean, this has got to be hard for her. She took this baby in, or whenever she chose to adopt him, in hopes to give this child a better life. And, this child here, now we're finding out he's an adopted child, so we don't even know who his parents are or what his parents have done or, who they were. Obviously there's something not right upstairs in his head. Something's not right upstairs in a lot of people's head to even think that this was remotely a good idea or that they were going to even get away with it. It's just insanity to me how many people do stupid stuff and then are shocked that they're caught. But he's honest. You can tell he's honest, and he's at least telling his mom he's honest. I didn't even hear him say, yeah, I was honest. He didn't even say it. He didn't even say it out of his mouth. He just kind of nodded his head. So even the way she asked her, were you honest with them about everything? It seemed like he even his facial expressions, he's still holding stuff back, it sounds like. And most of the stuff he's probably holding back is his culpability. Because what we find out with suspects that get caught, they want to distance themselves. So we start hearing distancing language, oh, they did it. Oh, it was them, Yeah, I was over here. I watched. I wouldn't participate, but this is what I saw them do. And it's like, yeah, I'm not buying it because let's face it. If this happened inside your house, I don't think you're sitting in the bedroom. You're calling law enforcement. You're calling law enforcement and you're having everybody in that house arrested. You're not being involved in that. If you're not involved in that, it'd make you sick, like it makes most of the people in our chat sick. So I don't buy this. He had nothing to do with nothing. Now he wants to cry only because he got caught. Exactly. So everyone should go to counseling. We need to learn how to regulate feelings. And once upon a time, in all fairness, Tina girl, we were taught how unfair life was at a younger age. You know, it wasn't so shocking when we got out into the real world that the real world was as mean and cruel as it is. You know, our teachers used to teach us for real life. They didn't give us safe spaces and coloring books. They told us when we didn't get our homework done, do you know you'd get fired from your job if you chose not to get your work done? You know, we were told it was tough knocks. We didn't get extra credit or extra time to do stuff because we came in there with a freaking excuse. If you didn't have your work done when it was supposed to be done, you got an F. You got a 0 on that. There was no exceptions. We need to bring that style of teaching back for our students, because you know what that told them? That taught them from a very young age consequences to their actions. That's what's missing, in my opinion, from our education system, that consequences. Everybody doesn't get a trophy. Out here in the real world, things aren't fair. We don't get safe spaces. Teaching children that is bullshit. You're not teaching them with life skills. You're teaching them an euphoria that does not exist. It's not real. That's what your problem is. You're teaching these kids the unrealistic reality of life. The reality of life is people... Shit happens. Shit happens to good people. You know? Good people die. Good people get in trouble when it was a bad person that did something wrong. Bad people are let go. This is life. You know, and it bothers me. I even feel like this is not fair. And, you know, I have to remind myself, you're right, it's not fair. What in the world is fair? Please tell me. What in the world is fair? I work my butt off every day. I'm a good-hearted person, and I can see somebody that's a snake get further along by being a snake. And it makes you wonder, should I be a snake? It's like, no, I'm not going to be a snake. I may not be as far ahead as them, but what are their consequences down the road? What are their consequences down the road? You know? You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But, you know, at least I knew that. I knew that when I got out in life, right? I knew that. Kids this day and age, they think that if they have a problem or they're upset, they can call off work and say, I need a personal day. If we did that crap when I was in working, we'd be fired. We didn't get personal days, self wellness. What the flip is that? That is somebody's manipulated our children. That's what's happened. Some lazy SOB has manipulated our children, that saying that it's better to be lazier. You know what? Nobody's going to buy that. Anyways, I'm off my soapbox. Spent enough time on it. Mom's having a hard time with this.
I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry. I'll let you guys go.
She tried to give him a good life. She tried.
I know.
What's done is done.
I know you are.
I would have never been caught in the middle of this if it wasn't for her.
Sweetie, you have to take responsibility.
He would have never been caught.
Okay?
That is awful.
You have to be a man.
Have a great day, love. Just remember, be a duck. Let it roll off the back. In your mind, you can tell him.
I'm true to my word.
You can tell him F off.
I promised you, if you told the truth, okay? I'm right here.
I'm just afraid of losing you guys.
Sweetie, I'm right here. I answered the phone.
Oh, it's got to be hard for her. It's got to be so hard for her.
Take a deep breath. I need you to do whatever you need to do, okay? To help. All right? You know, the Bible tells us If we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins. He's not going to take away the consequences, but he's going to forgive you because you know what, babe? You confessed. You confessed your part in it. But you have to be 100% honest with them. Okay? Okay?
Okay.
All right. I'm right here, buddy. Okay? You want to talk about it?
What?
Just anything?
I gotta tell you, this has got to be very hard for a mom to do this. And at the end of the day, a mom's a mom. We now know that Stacy Wandra was adopted by this beautiful soul here. I can't imagine that a woman would have adopted a boy unless she absolutely loved him. Now, I do know that there were other adopted children. I've got friends that have been adopted and said their parent was absolutely horrible and abusive. And some of those came from very, very, very religious backgrounds. So, I can't give this lady a complete free pass. I mean, she seems like a great lady being recorded and trying to get her son to confess to a crime where a child was involved. But could she have been abusive to this man here when he was younger? To further, maybe because he was out of control or an unruly kid, or we don't. I'm asking the question because I think it's. I mean, wouldn't you agree that it's fair to ask? I mean, we've heard horrible stories. She seems like a lovely lady. I just want to put that caveat on here that she seems like a very lovely lady. My heart's breaking for her as I'm watching her sit here. But again, I think that it would be problematic for us not to at least entertain that he could have been abused by this very lady. A lot of people that have certain behaviors because of abuse or abuses that they've underwent as a child. Now, this could have happened to him much younger, maybe by his biological parents. Again, he's an adopted child, so we don't know what situation happened about that. Could this be that he just had a lot of mental issues when he was growing up, and this lady has gone through so many challenges? She seems very, very calm and very passive and very patient. And so you would hope that that would be what she was like with his upbringing. And maybe she had to be very passive and very patient because we don't know what kind of disabilities Stacy Wandra truly has. It appears he does have some type of disabilities. And we know, like from Mr. and Mrs. E, how they had to, change their entire lifestyle when they had middle E, because middle E was autistic and he was a nonverbal autistic. Now, as you guys know, he talks. By the way, if you guys would still like to, I'm hearing that the E family could still be using a lot of prayers. So I'm going to be leading on my prayer warriors morning, noon, and night to be praying for the E family. They've just been going through a lot. They have middle E that is autistic, and then you guys know that they've been having a public struggle with their son. And so we just want to continue praying for them. We just want to continue praying for that family. So if you guys would like to pray for the E family, I'm sure they're always welcoming of prayers for strength and encouragement and healing. I think those are the best prayers we can give them right now, is the prayer of healing, the prayer of strength, love, compassion, and just, every now and again that they're live, or if you just want to go over to their channel and just tell them that you're thinking of them and their family. I'm sure that they would be so, appreciative of that. So please don't ever let them forget that we're here. We're still always thinking of them. Even if you don't see them online, just let them know. Anyways, all right, I'm done. And so it comes down to the parents. She seems patient. She seems, ginger, very kind, very genuine. Hopefully this is the way she was when she was, when she raised her son. But we can't, look past the fact that we've heard a lot of horrible stories in the foster care system as well as the adoption system. So I just want to put that caveat on here now that we know that he is truly adopted and this is his adopted mother. And again, I want to also say she looks like a beautiful soul. So I'm not saying she's done anything wrong. So I want to make sure you guys know that.
Feel lighter.
Yeah. That's for the best, huh? Yeah. You've been carrying that burden for a while, haven't you? Yeah.
What nothing to do with it.
You bring up a valid point. If he really wanted to take ownership and really wanted to show he was a good guy and really wanted to show he's cooperating and he repents for whatever his involvement is, and especially since he was probably the one with the lowest amount of involvement according to his own statements. Now, we don't know if that's true or not, but that's according to his statements. And if he truly is, confessing to his part and his role, then there should be no reason why he can't tell the world where Michael is. Michael's mother deserves to have her son back. She deserves to have her son back. And I pray to God that Stacy allows her to have her son back, or one of those SOBs. One of those SOBs. I don't believe in violence, but I have a funny feeling that wherever Sarah ultimately goes as a female, I'm pretty sure the pod women are going to make sure she feels every ounce of Michael Monkey Vaughan. I don't know how I knew that, but I have a funny feeling that that will be the case. We'll find out soon enough. I don't think it's going to happen during this process or during this upcoming trial, because I think Sarah's going to be next. But I have a funny feeling if I know the girls from prison, I have a funny feeling not that I agree with it. I'm not agreeing with it, but I'm not going to be complaining. Not on this one. I'm sorry, just not. And you guys, I'll take it. Well, I'll take it. But I'd be one of those people that if it was happening in front of me, I might just turn around and act like I didn't see it. And that's honesty. That's my honesty. There's just some things I don't believe in it. I wouldn't engage in it, but maybe that day I couldn't see well.
I don't want anything to do with it. Just honestly.
With the chickens. Yeah. That's for you, John.
You guys won't leave me if I have to go to prison for all life.
Sweetheart, I'm right here. I'm right here. Huh?
I feel like God's not.
Sweetheart,
Anything to do with me.
I can't speak for him. Right now, we're just...
He said if you guys can't it's hard to understand him because he's echoing, and it's because of all the concrete walls, but he's saying he doesn't feel like God's there with him.
Like, we're still processing everything. I was hoping and praying that you were being honest with me, but I knew in here, baby. I knew.
Now I'm just going to be labeled as predator, man.
I took it up before the
I'm
chickens.
just going to be labeled as a predator. Everywhere I go.
I can't hear what he's saying. Hold on. Let's go back just a little bit. But yes, I do get up before the chickens. I go to bed when it's still light outside, and I wake up when it's dark outside. I'm a little opposite, but it's because I'm just an early riser, and I feel like I get more accomplished during the day if I get up earlier. I don't know.
No, I'm just gonna be labeled as predator, man.
What?
I'm just gonna be labeled as a predator. Everywhere I go.
I'm just going to be labeled as a pet.
No, I'm just gonna be labeled as predator, man.
Predator. I think.
I knew.
Did I go accidentally
I
go
was
back?
hoping and praying that you were being honest
Here we go.
with me. You know? But I knew in here, baby. I knew.
No, I'm just gonna be labeled as predator, man.
What?
I'm just gonna be labeled as a predator.
Yep, that's what he said.
Everywhere I go. This evil person.
Because you're an evil person. Look at her. She's even saying, I mean, what do you say?
I love you.
Let me do.
Where are you at right now?
And my father.
Are you by yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Biting it too hard?
What did they say was going to happen now?
They were just gonna go out and
They were what?
they're just gonna go out and get Michael from where I told them he was.
Can't hear him.
Yeah.
They said that if everything turns out what I said and matches, that they were gonna fight for me.
So if everything turns out that everything he said to be true, if it turns out to be correct, then he said that they would fight for him, which is a typical thing. You know, if you didn't have anything to do with this and you're just telling us that you were there as a witness, then, you know, we will fight for you. But they're arresting him, and the first one for this felony homicide. So they believe he's involved. They believe they can prove he's involved. So it doesn't matter whether he was there for the death. The bottom line is he was there for the abduction. If he was there for the abduction, anything that happens from that point forward, from that felony forward, you're responsible for. It doesn't matter if you just did the abduction and turned around and walked away. If they unalived him after you left, you're still as much responsible for that as somebody died because of a commission of a crime that you were involved in. That commission of a crime was the abduction, was the kidnapping. Anything that happened to that child after that, no matter what, whether he was involved with it or not, he's culpable under the law. Under the law of the United States. This case goes back to 2021. It was one of our cases that we were covering after Summer Wells. It's the next case we covered. We went out there, started covering Summer Wells. This case wasn't getting a lot of attention. Then when Summer Wells' case kind of started dying down and we came to every, imaginable stopping point, we moved on to this case here. It was another boy that disappeared around the same time as Summer Wells from a completely different area of Fruitland, Idaho. But this was about 45 days, somewhere around there, 40 to 45 days after Summer Wells disappeared, that this boy disappeared. So this was really, and they were both blue hair, blue-eyed individuals, children. So it was one of those things that, they kind of went together but didn't. And we kind of, to get this case attention, used this case as a look at these parents compared to these parents type case, because we had Summer Wells, you had the Wells parents not doing a damn thing, going on TV and going on these interviews on YouTubes and hanging out with YouTubers and acting all kinds of messed up, just it was despicable. It was disgusting. Blonde, not blue. Oh, I meant blonde. Did I say blonde hair? No, blonde hair, blue eyes. Blonde hair, blue eyes. They're both blonde hair, blue eyes, not blonde eyes, blue hair. Whatever I said. Whatever. But you guys get the gist. So I ended up going out here to Fruitland, Idaho, and I believe that was September of 2022, if I had to be accurate with that. And there was a lot of cornfields. Like, he could have literally been laying out there. You could go literally into the cornfields a foot and you would disappear. It was the most wild thing. Like, the children of the corn freaked me out when I was younger. And then seeing all these cornfields and walking into a cornfield and disappearing, I'm like, I'm the hell out of here. Okay. I will be honest with you. Bullhorn Betty did not investigate the cornfields. Okay. I might have a little PTSD from childhood. I don't know. But it was a significant search that they did out there. And then, of course, we came out and looked at some things, went up to the Snake River and looked into the river, because there was a river that runs, if he would have gotten out of the house. We were looking at all the possibilities of it not being an abduction or kidnapping, because we didn't really know what we were looking at there. We heard rumors, but we weren't 100% on any path of travel or mechanism of how he was abducted. We tried to look at every avenue, but at the end of the day, in that community, there was one way in and one way out. And that was it.
Okay. Baby, is Michael alive?
Here we go. You can see her sadness.
Sarah accidentally killed him.
How?
Suffocation.
This is where
They buried him in a duffel bag.
How was that an accident?
She didn't realize there was too much clothes on top of him.
she didn't realize there was too much force on top of him. Why in the hell is Sarah on top of Michael? Guys, get it? Like I said, I have a funny feeling that I'm not going to, and again, I don't agree with it, but I have a funny feeling when she gets to where she's going, she's going to realize why you don't mess with kids. Because that right there doesn't sound good. You're talking about on top and force. I don't like those words together. We kind of felt like this when we found, what we were, we ultimately thought that something like this could be the case. But I think we were kind of looking at something a little different. But now we know how completely immoral that house was. Why Sarah always picked up random guys from the airport and brought them home. We kind of are getting a very unsavory interior of that home, of how disgusting it must have been there. Deviants, predators, whatever word, adjective you want to use, I'm pretty sure we can put in place. That's my problem. As soon as I heard this in the testimony, I was sickened to my stomach. Because it showed very specifically, or at least described to me, how does a grown person roll over and suffocate? But he wasn't saying rolled over. He's talking about top and force.
How was that an accident?
She didn't realize there was too much clothes on top of him.
Why
And
did
he,
she take
and
him?
he was duct taped.
Duct tape. Duct tape.
Why did she take him? Did she take him or did you?
No, I didn't take him. It was her. Her and Adrian.
Where were you?
Sitting at home when they came walking in and Sarah was holding my.
I don't believe any of that.
Why was she gonna do that? Why?
I think she wanted to try to appease me with the here's a kid, like type of thing. Because we've been trying for so hard. And I looked at her and I said, what the heck are you doing? I said, this is not, she goes, well, I just needed to make money. And I said, this is not how you do that. Well, the goal with her was so she could make money. And she was going to split it with Adrian. And I was completely out of the loop with everything.
How come you didn't say something?
I was scared too.
Big boy like that, scared too. I'm a little tiny thing. I mean, I'm not tiny. I'm not skin and bones tiny, but I'm a short little tiny thing. Okay? Like any grown person can overpower Bullhorn Betty. We'll let them think that anyways. But at the end of the day, in reality, I'm a tiny person. Nothing scares me. I mean, things do scare me. Don't let me mislead you. I do get scared. But, you know, it's one of those things where you got to do what you got to do. That's just kind of my mentality, right? So when I hear a grown man say that he's scared to tell, I call bull.
Come on now, that ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
That's what I'm talking about. Yes. But you know, the point is this idea of scared. I don't think anybody in our chat, if you saw something horrific like this, would be scared to call law enforcement. Okay, he is a grown ass man and a big boy to boot. A big boy that likes, you know, remember some of his charges are felon with a firearm, right? Got him in jail for firearm, right? He's a felon. Okay, so we're talking about a felon here. A felon before this case ever came about. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that. He was a felon before this case here. Okay, I've done a lot of stupid crap in my life. You guys know I've done a lot of stupid crap. You guys know I've done a lot of stupid crap nobody knows about too, okay? The bottom line is I have never been a felon. Ever, ever, ever. So I just want to put that into perspective. This is a felon prior to this. He didn't become a felon after it. It was prior to. Because one of the charges they charged him with to get him behind bars was felony in possession of a firearm because he went and pawned or bought or whatever a firearm. And that's how they were able to put him behind bars. So now we have a felon that's scared. I call...
Warning, bullshit alert.
Just saying. Just saying.
I was scared. I knew. I told her. I said, you need to call the authorities. I said, you need to report this. This is not okay. And she goes, no, I'm not doing that.
see how anybody can be involved in this. Yep.
Are you sure it was an accident?
It was an accidental suffocation.
How did Brandon get involved?
Great question, Mom.
Brandon's house was used to store Michael overnight.
There you guys have it. To store him. Store him overnight. Like he's a cake.
Are you going to cooperate with him and testify?
I would.
Okay.
I mean, I think Mom knows. I mean, I think anybody at this point knows that you're being recorded. I mean, she's asking some pretty interesting questions. I would have to presume that she, you know, especially since her son's already a felon, that she knows how this stuff works. I'm pretty sure she knows she's talking, and I'm pretty sure she's doing this to help law enforcement. I mean, I'd have to think, because I don't know, you know, other than, in all fairness, I would probably, I don't know. Let me just keep my comments to myself for this moment.
You have to stick to that, buddy, okay? Okay.
Well, I'm gonna die in prison.
Yeah, you are.
I'm gonna end up getting myself killed.
I just want to remind you, he was out. He was in Arizona when they finally picked him up for this charge. He knew he was going to spend the rest of his life behind bars once they found him. He's sitting here for pity saying, I should unalive myself, right? But he did, in all theoretic, not that I supported or anything like that. I'm just pointing out the obvious. He was out there in the wild without any supervision and not behind bars. So much so that he managed to get himself arrested in Arizona. He was in an Arizona jail. Okay? So, just saying. This is all for show. This is all for pity. Because if he was just going to go out and just, you know, do what needs to be done, well, he had that opportunity and he squandered it. So now he gets to spend the rest of his life behind bars. Just saying.
I'm gonna be able to see you again.
You're seeing me right now.
This is so hard.
I don't have video chats in prison.
Might, possibly, yeah.
Sorry, I don't get to see you again.
I agree.
You know what, sweetheart? You know what, sweetie? We're just gonna pray. God's gonna take care of you. But the main thing is you ask him for forgiveness. You've confessed your sins. You need to be honest about it. Like, seriously, confess everything, your whole part in it, no matter what that is, babe, no matter what. You understand? No matter what. You just be honest and you tell God. And he's going to forgive you. And then, you know what? No matter what happens after that, you just read your Bible, you pray, you talk to God, and he'll be with you, baby. He will. He will. And then you don't have to fear. You don't have to fear dying. Okay? Because you know what? We can't fix what happened. We can't fix any of that. But you can be different. And even if you have to be different in jail, okay? You can be different. And you don't have to be afraid of dying. Grandpa wasn't afraid of dying. And if you know Jesus and you've gotten forgiveness of your sins and he's in your heart, you'll get to see Grandpa. Okay? So no matter what, this is hard. It's going to be very hard. But you know what, baby? God has you, and he's not going to let you down. And all of the garbage that Sarah talked to you about, babe, that was not okay. Okay?
What do you mean? Garbage.
It sounds like she does not care for Sarah's style of religion. Almost as the tone of she feels like Sarah corrupted her son. You know?
Garbage. Remember when she called yelling, God said this, God said that?
Yeah.
When she got online and she started, quote, preaching, sweetheart, she's not speaking God's real truth.
Wow. Wow. Sorry. Just a little bit. There we go. That should be so loud. That blew my eardrums out. Grandpa, so it runs in the family. No, he's adopted. He's adopted. Apparently his grandfather, his adopted grandfather's in heaven, so she's basically telling him that if he confessed and turns his life over to God, even from prison, he can make it to the pearly gates, is basically the what she's telling him. And if he makes it to the pearly gates, she can see Grandpa. He can see Grandpa, because Grandpa's in the pearly gates. That's my understanding.
That's not God's real truth. What Lee and Lois, and Grandma, and Grandpa, and me, that's the truth. That's the truth, baby. Okay? I want you to take every single thing that Sarah said to you and throw it out the window. And know that the people that really love you are here. Okay?
Ooh, it sounds like Mama didn't really care for the wifey poo. Sounds like Mama didn't care for the wifey poo. Hey, hello, my love. We're going over this. Did you hear his statements? I've already went through it, but I wanted to, hey, chill Billy. It's nice to see you. It's been a while. Time on Earth is limited to a jail cell. Look forward to the afterlife. Yeah. When he confesses to his mother what happened, he says that Sarah was on top of him. I don't know how I feel about that, but she was on top of him and too forceful. I don't like those words being together, but It seems predatorial to me. It seems RSO-ish behavior from Sarah. I am like losing my stuff because it sounds like Sarah and Adrian might have been the instigators of all of this. Even though all of them were involved. I don't know how. I still don't know how sick. Like, I would have been calling. If somebody brings a random child to my house and is staying at my house and they're not supposed to have a child, I'm calling 911. I don't do well. Like, I'm not involved, and I'm not getting involved in crimes. I'm not getting involved in crimes against children. I'm not getting involved in anything. I'm not a good criminal, okay? I will tell you that. I once was a great criminal. Okay? I turned my life over to God. I want nothing to do with it. You bring that monkey stuff here, I'm going to snitch. Okay? You can say snitches get stitches, but my face is looking fine. Okay? I'm going to snitch. And I can guarantee I ain't getting a single stitch. So don't get me involved in any of your BS. If you're out there getting all kinds of illegal stuff, doing all kinds of... Don't bring Betty involved. That's a good way to get told on. And you can't say that I'm snitching because I'm telling you, don't get me involved. I'm gonna sing like a canary. Okay? I'm gonna sing like a canary. I'm gonna record it, and I'm gonna send it to law enforcement so they have real evidence. No, I'm just joking. But nobody's gonna get me involved. And at the end of the day, this guy is saying he's scared. He was scared. He was scared to do something about it. Big old mean, burly felon here. Remember, let's not forget this man was a felon before this happened. They're all involved, participated and lied, and only want to save themselves. Boom. There you go.
I'm not gonna lie to you. This is a tough one, babe.
That might be exactly what's wrong, to be honest with you. Because there's something wrong with this man.
My heart is so broken. It is. It's broken, baby.
Aww. She looks broken. She's trying to keep her shit together.
I don't think I've had my heart broken like this before. But
Just the guard.
I do love you.
I feel for this lady. My heart breaks for this
Okay.
lady.
I do love you.
I love you too.
And do you realize, can't see, it takes a brave thing to tell the truth.
She does.
It's a brave thing to admit you've made a mistake. Okay? Where you sent them, are they going to find him?
He thinks they're going to find him.
Okay.
He hasn't been found yet. So why has Stacy, I think, it's possible that one of them went back and cleaned up a mess. I don't know. Good morning, Emma. It's nice to see you. Got a secret? You can keep it. He wasn't scared to ask for money and food when he was coming on YouTube for interviews. Amen for that. Cannot forget that. Yep, you are absolutely right. 100%. I remember that. And I'm just like, this dumbass.
Have you talked to my dad about this?
No, not yet. He knows a little bit.
Oh. Have you talked to my dad about this? Daddy doesn't even know. Mama is burdening this right here all by herself right now. He knows a little bit, but no. Wow. Maybe the father was the abuser. I mean, she seems very, very, very passive. And I'm not saying anybody was abused. I shouldn't say just because somebody's adopted, they're abused in the system and stuff. I'm just trying to make sense of why he's so messed up. Is it because of his real parents? You know, did he have, you know, somebody's talking about, you know, some taboo stuff, you know, there are things like that happen. And children are put in the adoption care system because of it, because they don't want to, you know, injure the womb, but they don't want the kid because the kid is, you know, a taboo kid. So is this a situation because somebody brought, I mean, this kid, obviously Stacy is not mentally okay upstairs. I think you can see that when you talk to him, there's something wrong with him. Okay. Now, does he make sentences? Does he think for himself? Is he processing information? Yes. But what does it help do? I think it helps makes people a little bit easier to manipulate. Now, am I saying that this felon is so, you know, can be so manipulated? He can't make decisions. Well, he knew what he was doing was wrong. So that's the only thing I care about. I don't care about your mental acuity. The point I'm making, did you know what you were doing was wrong? And if you did, why did you do it? And the bottom line is no matter how you look at anything, no matter if you're mentally ill or not, the cover-up is the most important of this case because they covered it up. If they didn't think anything they were doing was wrong, or they were so mentally effed that they just did this to a kid and whatever the case may be, then you're going to be getting off because you're mentally insane. And you are not guilty because of your mental insanity. That's not the case here. They tried to cover it up. They lied. Those are very specific actions that go directly to whether they knew what they were doing was right or wrong. And that's the only thing I care about when it comes to criminal conduct. Because I don't care if you are completely mentally screwed up in the head. Did you know at the time that you were doing was wrong? And the answer is yes. And how do we know that? Because of the action of hiding and lying. Because somebody that doesn't think that what they did are wrong, they're not going to lie and they're not going to hide. It's just that simple. So for me, that's just that simple. Yeah.
Just give a look at me to say, Mom,
I agree with you.
just this big animal.
Baby, this is hard. I'm speechless and I'm sad and
Oh, you're right. He did.
I don't
Thank
know how
you.
to be, you know?
That's right. That's right. You're right. The real Me Too does. He was diagnosed with fetal alcohol syndrome. So his mother drank with him. And so that has a lot to do with his mentality as well, folks. So just, yes, you're right. You're accurate. I remember that. I remember that now. Thanks for jogging my memory. Yes, you're right.
I'm trying to do what God would have me to do. He gave you to me to raise. And I did the very best I could.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't know. I
Thank
don't know
you,
how
John.
to handle this one. But I'm here.
Almost coffee from what society thinks is higher education establishment. Exactly.
People will look at you different. I'm not gonna lie. You know I don't lie to you.
I'm just going to take a little breather here. And the reason why I'm taking a breather is because my heart's bleeding for the mom here. She's an adoptive mom. She sounds like a great adopted mom. I'm sure there's a lot of adopted children that would have preferred this mother instead of the abusive family that they were put into. But thank God those are only small bits of the cases. But I did want to point out he is adopted, and sometimes these adopted families, especially the ones that are like in religious families, can be very difficult at times because of discipline. The fact that some of these kids come in there with emotional and mental disorders and learning disorders and undeveloped brains, and they need some discipline, they need some guidance because they haven't had that for most of their life. So things can be very stressful in adoptive family homes as well as foster care homes, just for the shock. And many people think it's easy to take care of children, but it's easy to take care of children until they have episodes. And sometimes they do have episodes because you don't know what environment they came from. They might have violent episodes, they might have crying episodes, they might have throwing themselves in the middle of the floor kicking and screaming episodes. You don't know what kind of episode that you're going to get with a child. They may come with no episodes. They may just come just very thankful that they got a roof over their head. You just never know what you're going to get when you're dealing with a foster or adopted child. But typically, most people, not all the time, unfortunately, but most people, most families want to do it out of a labor of love. They have the ability to, they have the room, they have the finances, they're religious, they want to help, they want to give back to society, and they don't want a child living in a home, right? They want them to have a home. And so most of these things are done out of a labor of love. Some of these things, in all fairness, are done to say, look how good of a Christian I am, right? And they're done for, in some cases, for people to give them own selves a pat on the back. And those are the people we need to be careful of. This lady here seems very, very sweet. I doubt she gave him anything but a good home. It sounds like she gave him an amazing home. And it sounds like she is just completely devastated that she tried to save this baby from this. When she took this child into her home to give this child, Stacy, a loving home to grow up in, when his family was treating him so poorly, she did this to prevent what we're going through right now. She did this to keep them out of the system and out of jail. And she probably thought that would be. And you can hear her disdain for Sarah. You can tell she feels Sarah corrupted him. So, because she's always constantly saying, this is not, the religion that we're teaching you is different from the religion she's teaching you. So you can tell that she knows that he's easily manipulated. And he's a guy, so she was a girl, it's hard. It's hard for any parent to go through this.
There are actions. You're all blurry now. There you go. There are. Oh, Mom. The cat's gonna get your food. Thank you. There are actions that have consequences that even Mom can't buffer for you. These are babe, it's hard because had you said something in the beginning, but because you held on to it for so long, it's almost like you were participated, And the fact that you knew and you let his family suffer.
She's right.
For so long, a long time, babe.
Guys, I can't complain about this lady because everything that I say as a parent, what I think parents should do in a situation like this, she's doing. She's very sweet, ginger, loving. But she's not lying to her son. She's not telling him, we're going to get you out of this. She's letting him know, look, this looks really bad for you. Why didn't you immediately go to law enforcement? Why didn't you immediately, because of that, you look like you are more culpable than you're saying you are. She's not lying to her son. I think because she seems a little manipulated too. That Adrian, this whole thing about money from California, that's scary first and foremost. And this goes directly as a result because we know that Don Wells talked about California too. Let's not forget that. So I'm a little concerned. I believe that Sarah is a mastermind, but I believe she had some coaching by Adrian. I believe Adrian was the one that has the connection to California. I think when you're hearing money, and we've heard him talk about money, somebody put this in even Sarah's mind. And I think that would have been Adrian. So I think Adrian is probably right up there with Sarah as far as the mastermind, in my opinion. From everything, if everything that we're hearing here is true. Now, we have to put that caveat on here because we're dealing with somebody that's being charged with a homicide here. And so we have to take everything that's being said with a grain of salt because we don't know who's being truthful. And we haven't heard the evidence to determine for ourselves who we believe is being truthful. So that's kind of where we're all at this moment. So let's just be, I want to be accusatory, but I still have to put some caution up here because we're listening to one person's side and we haven't even heard the evidence that the state has. That might change our opinion of who the mastermind is, what actually happened to Michael Monkey Vaughan. I mean, there's a reason why they're bringing him forward first. Maybe they've deemed him to be the mastermind. Maybe everything he is saying is so much of a liar because, again, we got to remember he was a felon before this happened. So maybe he was trying to impress somebody. Why is he the first one to go down? Is it because he confessed to it and they've got to get him guilty so they can go after the other ones? Because then they would have found his statements to be true. And if they find his statements to be true in a court of law, then they can go after Adrian, Brandon, and Sarah. There might be some strategy here. There might be some legal strategy here. And legal maneuvering here to take them all down. So I think this might be step one, but why step one? Why him first? I guess only time will tell. Let's get going.
Those are things that, it's hard. The night you called me, you knew.
The night.
And had you just come forward then.
She's talking about how he must have called her and said, "Oh, we have a missing boy in our community." Ooh, this is why Mom's upset. She probably had discussions with her son about this case. And all the lies he's told her. Wow. We never thought about that. At least I didn't. I'm just now getting a clue. She checked all the boxes of the best way. Yep, I think she handled this. You can tell she's brokenhearted, but she handled it. She wanted to know what happened. And she seems like it. She surely does, doesn't she? Very calm, very passive, very nurturing. Trying to comfort her son while being stern and teaching. Yeah, she's hitting all the boxes. I couldn't be that nice to my son. I would tell him bluntly, that's kind of my approach, but I'm blunt about everything. Did you hear Sarah's ex-husband speak to Josh from the lab? She had always wanted to oh my God. Ooh, no, I did not hear that. If you have the link to that, send that to me. I would like to. Yeah, I did not, because I fell out of this case for a little while. And now that I see that there's a trial coming up, it's like, we did cover this case. We went out to Idaho. We have a unique perspective in this case. And we're definitely going to be monitoring this. I'd like to see what happened to this young boy. This could be, there might be some tools that we might be able to put in our toolbox from this case that maybe we were ignorant to at the time that this case that might help us with the next case. So I'm very eager to find out what happened in this case. And now that we're finally moving forward, I'm thankful. I just want to put this out there. I'm truly, truly thankful that we have finally gotten to this point, because you guys got to understand, we've been hearing from JD Huff since like 2023. These people were going to be arrested. It felt like year after year after year after year. They just kept going and going. And I gave up. I will be honest with you. I gave up that anybody was going to be arrested, that they just were not going to have enough because they did not have Michael. And they worked their ass off. I like JD Huff. You've never heard me say you guys hear me. If I find a bad officer, a bad sheriff, you've never seen me hold back my words, not one time. Not one time. I would never sit here and give an attaboy to a sheriff or a chief that does not deserve it. Okay? And I got to tell you, I like Chief Huff from the beginning of this case. There are just some officers that you just know are going to be good. And again, it comes down to, we've seen the best of policing in this country, and we've seen the absolute worst of policing in this country. And I can tell you, JD Huff gives a 5 out of 5 on the Bullhorn Betty channel. And I'm telling you, that is hard to do. It really is very hard to do. I have never had anything negative to say about JD Huff. He kept people tuned to this case. He never got this case out of the limelight. He kept the integrity of this case tight. He kept leaks tight. We had no earthly idea who these people were. We had a little tidbit of information to help guide us, and we didn't know who these people were until they were arrested. He did an amazing job. And he kept this case in the spotlight as long as he did. Again, it takes... I don't like being nasty to law enforcement. And I know that they have an uphill battle with social media. But it doesn't change the fact that they've got to be able to do their job, conduct their job with cameras in their face and pressure on. If you can't do that, that is what is required in law enforcement this day and age. And if we do not have police chiefs that are equipped to handle it, we do not have sheriffs that are equipped to handle it, and we do not have deputies or officers equipped to handle it, you are already late to the game. You either need to go back to training, or you guys need to move on from this career. Because at the end of the day, this is what the new law enforcement is required to deal with out there. And unfortunately, it is the name of the game. Social media has changed a lot of things. But yes, we are journalists, we are media, and we expect to be respected out there equally with our counterparts, mainstream media. So it is what it is. And you know what? JD Huff shook my hand. JD Huff never stopped me from getting anything. He never pushed back. Like when I go out there, I invest everybody, including the parents. One of the things is I spoke to him, and I had already had the records. They didn't prevent me from having the records. And I said, I'm not planning on releasing any of this information. I just need to look at the parents just to make sure I'm on the right page. And they willingly gave me over everything that they could give me over. I have nothing to complain about when it comes to JD Huff. Very respectful, kind, genuine, and he kept the integrity of this case intact while keeping us engaged in the case. So again, JD Huff, 5 out of 5 on the Bullhorn Betty channel. I think probably one of the first chiefs of police to ever for me to say that. And I've never had anything negative or disparaging to ever say about JD Huff. Why? Because he did policing exceptionally in this case. Did it take some time? Yes, it did. But he gingerly told us not to focus on the parents, that they were looking for other people. He kept us engaged, and they made an arrest when they had enough to make an arrest. And when the arrest came, we were all shocked who it was, because we've never heard of these people before. So I just want to point that out. This is another officer that cleared those parents that everybody's like, I can't believe he cleared them, right? Because that's what we do. And that's why I said, we've got to start trusting somebody somewhere. JD Huff is a prime example of that, because he cleared the parents. And people pushed back on him clearing the parents. We didn't, because it was hard for me to believe that they had anything to do with it. But again, we went out there to find out. And I was absolutely determined that Brandy and her husband had zero to do with anything. Once I met with them, once I met with the neighbors, it wasn't even their statements. I spoke to them last. If you know how I do anything, they were not the first people I spoke to. I went around their entire community, spoke to umpteen million people that saw what happened that day before I ever went and met with Brandy or Tyler. And during that, we knew they had, at minimum, Brandy had nothing, absolutely nothing to do with it. The neighborhood, described both Brandy and Tyler as devastated. And when they describe their behaviors are what we expect from parents that have lost children. All the boxes were checked for mommy and daddy in this case. They were good. And then we had the chief come out and clear them. And people didn't want to take that into consideration. And I'm saying this because of Nancy Guthrie's case. You know, chiefs and sheriffs don't clear people. So when they clear people, it's because you got it wrong. Okay, we're looking at something else. And I've learned to appreciate that because they come very few, okay? Very few times. And it's only when pressure is being pointed at innocent people that they do it. When somebody's really going after innocent people, it's now putting that person in peril. So law enforcement, in an abundance of caution, in safety, will start clearing people. And that's what happened in the Idaho 4 as well. Because there were so many people that got it wrong. When we went out there, we tried to educate as much as we can. And so we told you guys when we finally got to the location and got a chance to walk around and look at the house and what we were up against, we knew immediately nobody was talking about the person that did this. I can't tell you how we knew it. We just knew immediately that the friends, the people from Idaho, all the people that they were looking at had nothing to do with this. We knew immediately when we came to that scene that this was something different we had never seen before. And so I immediately told my audience how I felt, that we were completely off base and that we were most likely going to find out that this is somebody we're not even talking about. I started vocalizing those statements because of the Michael Monkey Vaughan case, because we never vocalized that on the Michael Monkey Vaughan case. I have since vocalized that on the Nancy Guthrie case. There's been very, very few cases that I say this is going to be somebody we don't even know their name. There's only been two situations that I've said that on, and that is the Idaho 4 and Nancy Guthrie's case. So I've got to trust my gut instinct in that. And then this one here, we had no idea who the Wandras were. I had never heard the Wandras' name until I got a call from an anonymous person saying, call the booking. Somebody's been arrested for not reporting a deceased body. It's related to Michael. And so I don't know who called me. I don't know who gave me that heads up, but somebody called me on my phone. Don't know who they were. And gave me that information. I called down there, and that was the first time I heard Sarah Wandra's name, and I broke the story. I was one of the first people that knew that Sarah had been, and I got backlash out of the backlash. And I'm just going to tell you this. If I come across breaking news, I will break the story. I don't care about the backlash. We're covering a case. Somebody was arrested. This is our job. I feel bad. I had no earthly idea that the law enforcement made this arrest without informing Brandy. I would have assumed that after the arrest, the next call would have been Brandy or the family. That's what would have happened if it was my town. So, I had no idea. Everybody was so mad. Why didn't you call Brandy? Well, first of all, I would never call a mother that I would think that probably had just gotten the same news as I did. I couldn't imagine what her mentality is. It wasn't a person that came and watched my show, hung out in my channel, hung out in my chat. So this idea that I'm the one that told her, no, I'm not. There was somebody that brought her up on a live show to break the news to her. And that person still calls herself her friend to this day. And I gotta say, I think that was the most heartless thing I've ever heard in my life. If she truly was a friend, in my opinion, she would have called her and said, look, we just heard something from one of the channels, and I think you need to call. They would have been a real friend and said, Brandy, you need to call the sheriff if you don't know this, or the police, because we just got reports that somebody's been arrested in your son's case. That would have been the more appropriate method forward, instead of breaking it to her live, having her break down live on a YouTube channel for profit and then blame me for breaking the news. Shame on you, and I will always shame you for that. And I hope that you've never done that again. I'm not going to bring up the creator's name. She knows who she is. She absolutely knows who she is. So there is that.
Things might have been different. But we can't go and look at all that, baby. All we can do, look me in the eye, baby. Look at me. All we can do now is do the right thing from today. Okay? The right thing from today. Today forward, you can make good decisions, better decisions. Today forward, you can read your Bible. You
Hey,
can
Jude.
pray. You can talk to God.
Please do.
Okay? You don't have to give up. Okay? You might be in there, or you might be in prison, but you don't have to give up, and you don't have to give in to the temptations that are there. You can make good decisions now. Okay? From now on, good decisions.
Okay.
All right, baby.
Have you talked to my dad yet?
Which dad?
Not Jerry. Oh.
No, I haven't.
Seems very concerned about his dad. I wonder why.
Oh, you mean I haven't told him about this?
No, but I'm talking about the other. He said he was gonna give me money or whatever.
He's not at the moment. Okay? He's not going to. He's not going to.
So he wants money for his commissary, and they're saying, yeah, no, we're here for you. But we ain't giving you money, or he ain't giving you money.
He said he wasn't gonna help.
Yeah.
Why?
Sweetie, I'm not in his brain.
I can tell you why. Nobody's going to help financially somebody that did something this to a child. I mean, this is a mom. She's standing by her son. That's kind of what we expect. She's not supporting what he did. She's not condoning what he did. She's trying to lead him to the light, into a better, higher moral compass. So at least his time in jail can be better. I know. It's awful. It's awful.
Love you.
I love you too, buddy. I did put $10 on your phone account. Is that phone account so that you can only call my phone number? Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
I was really hoping my dad would follow through on his word because I don't have any way to make any other calls.
I know. I know.
Just don't understand why he would go and say he was going to do one thing and just play God.
Sweetheart, really? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not surprising.
Okay.
So maybe he's used to his father saying he's going to do something and not following through. Maybe that's what it has to do with not necessarily him being there. Hey, Daisy. It's nice to see you.
You need to focus on Stacy.
Opal, it's nice to see you.
Not calling a bunch of people anyway. Now, are you sure? Did you leave anything out talking to them? No?
I'll give an update here in just a second.
You promised me you told them the truth?
Yes.
All of it? When you hide some of the truth, it's like lying and not telling the truth. Did you know that? Okay. It's very, very, very important. Very important.
We got about another 40 seconds and this will be over. She even said don't engage into the she said something like don't allow temptation. She said something about temptation while in there, so I think Mama kind of knows.
Oh, we've got 1 minute left.
Okay.
I love you, buddy.
Love you, Mom.
I love you too. Bye-bye.
All right, so that was pretty emotional. So this is Michael Monkey Vaughan right here. And he was a 5-year-old child that disappeared. So what had happened is his dad was watching him, and he has a younger sister. He had a tendency of getting out. Now, mind you, this is a small community. It's, when you look at the area, him getting out, it was a nothing burger. This is a good community. All the neighbors knew everybody. Everybody, like one guy that I went and knocked on his door in that house, he grew up in that house. His mom owned that house. He's an old man that has grandchildren, and he raised his children in that house. I mean, this was and this was down further. It was on their street, but it was almost all the way down to the other end of the street. And he was telling me how they've lived there for generations. Never a thing ever like this happened. And especially in that specific community. Nothing imaginable. When you hear this story, this boy got out and went over to the neighbor's house, knocked on the door for one of the boys, one of the neighbor kids, to play with him. But the neighbor kid wasn't there, so he had the neighbor said, go on home, and actually sat there. It was just right across the street. Sat there until he got in his yard by his mailbox. So he must have not went into his house, and he must have gotten another toy out and started playing with it as these animals were driving by. It was just like that. It was just like that. And then all of a sudden he's gone, and he's gone for forever. It's a very sad story, and he's never been found. He's one of the babies that we've never got to bring home. So we're still searching for him to this day. Still searching. Still trying to find out, and 4 people know the answers of where this boy is. He deserves to be with his mom. So if Stacy Wandra truly is sorry for what he did, he's going to have to pay the cost for his actions. But if he was really not resentful, but why am I losing my words? If he really wanted to repent, he would say where he's at. Nobody has ever told the police or Brandy where Michael is. If anybody knows where Michael is, if anybody knows who Adrian Lucen is, who Brandon Shirtliff is, who Stacy Wandra is, who Sarah Wandra is. If you know who they are, please reach out to us. Please reach out to the law enforcement. Tell us where Michael is. There's one other caveat here. Stacy and Sarah went on a trip. They had to take, allegedly, a dog that they were being paid $1,200 to Texas. It was when they went to Texas in September of 2021, they both came back almost saved, almost lifted of their sins, as if nobody will ever find out. They went really religious. Some of their statements online was a little crazy. And it wasn't until later that I truly believe Stacy and Sarah moved Michael. And I believe Stacy and Sarah took him on that trip with that dog to Texas. Did they stop along the way? Did they dump him out somewhere? Did they find a rickety bridge and throw him off of it? Has anybody followed their path of travel and looked at any location that may be prime for a dump site? Because I truly believe if they look at their phone and vehicle and other data from Idaho to Texas, that's a long trip. They had to have been picked up on something of governmental quality camera. Did you guys follow that path of travel? Because I truly believe it's that path of travel where Michael Monkey Vaughan will ultimately be discovered. Just in my opinion. Is there any lakes, ponds? We know that there's several ways to bury someone. I believe we know that he came out of that ground, and we started seeing a major change verbally in the posts and visibly in the posts that Sarah and Stacy were making after September of 2021. And they were much different, much more deranged, much more religious. But it all happened after that trip with that dog to Texas. So what did they do? Where did they put Michael? We know Michael was moved. The only people that I heard that went across country that would have been able to do this would be Sarah and Stacy Wandra. He was in their backyard, not over in Brandon Shirtliff's backyard, not over in wherever Adrian lives in California or wherever he ran off to. Their backyard, he was pulled out of. So where did he go from their backyard? I used to think that too, but since probable cause released and the timeline, only Brandon and Sarah now know. I think you're really going to have to send me that timeline. Oh, because Stacy was in jail at the time, right? Isn't that what it was? Stacy was in jail. He was there. He was out when Michael was put in the ground, but he was in jail when allegedly he must have been moved. Okay. That was okay, I got it. They need to give they do. But you know what? There's no pressure coming from Brandon or Sarah because they're not in cuffs. Where are they? Why are they not? Why isn't everybody arrested in this situation? There's got to be some strategy here why all these people aren't arrested and why all these people aren't being charged. Why is it just Stacy? I think that's my biggest question. Why just Stacy? I'm glad she's getting justice, but why him? We know that there was 4 people involved. So anyways, we're out of time for this show, folks. We will be back. We will be covering Monkey Vaughan and the updates going on in his case. Right now, Stacy Wandra is having hearings. He's going to be coming up for the first trial related to this. They changed his, I think, 2nd-degree murder or 1st-degree murder charge to felony murder. I think they're going to let the jury decide what level of homicide this is for their sentencing. It sounds like that's the only adjustment that I've heard. I will send you. Oh, okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'd like to look at it. I did miss that. So we'll be back with this case. We're going to give you guys updates. This case is finally moving. We are just, let's be honest, happy. I can't tell you how elated I am to finally, I want this baby home. I think all of us do. We always want the victim to come home. We always want the victim to be laid to rest where their family can honor and respect them. And I think that it's so heart-wrenching and just like a kick when you're down to have, you know, a homicide trial going on and no victim back. You know, the victim is still missing in this case. But again, this comes down to good, strong law enforcement that are taking a nobody case. This is the toughest case, and they're going to be successful with it. Why? Because there's ways to build circumstantial cases to get through so these monsters don't sit out there and be able to live their life for 20 to 30 years so you can give them with the first degree. You know, sometimes we're fine with 20, 30 years behind bars. I'm just going to throw that out there to the government. We, the people, are fine with 25 years to life, 15 to life. We're fine with that, as opposed to these people being able to sit and live their life for 30 years and get to go out and party and enjoy life for 30 years before the knock comes at the door. No. We, the people, don't have appetites for that kind of law enforcement anymore. That was the old way of doing things. And we're still catching up to those practices to this day. There's people going to jail that committed crimes 50 and 60 years ago. They're old and gray. They're going to die in prison, but who cares at this point? They've already lived their life. They've already had their families, their grandchildren. Watch them all grow up and graduate from school and college. That's not justice. That's not justice in my book. So Sumner County, Tennessee, please take note. Because you are by far the worst offender of this. Sebastian deserves justice. Summer Wells deserves justice. All the victims in Tennessee that you guys just give them a week search and it's like, okay, well, we'll wait until somebody stumbles across their body before we do anything else. We're tired of that lazy-ass policing. We're tired. Everybody in all these other industries and in places like Idaho that doesn't have good internet and stuff like that, it seems like they can get the job done. Why do we have this problem in Tennessee? 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 We need justice. Yeah, but they're working on that. And I think they're getting closer and closer. Because they never stop looking for Layla. Layla's an adult missing. Sullivan County and Kingsport Police have never given up on Layla. They have constantly done one-off searches. They've never given up hope on finding Layla and returning her back to her mother, ever. And she's an adult. We're in Sumner County. We've never had a one-off search for Sebastian. We've never had them take their reports and start isolating search areas and getting out there to search for him. They've never done that. Summer Wells either. This is just recently we had TBI do a search. Just recently. And it's like, oh, what did you do? Did you guys just decide that maybe today's a good day to get out there and get a tan? I'm angry with TBI. I'm angry with Hawkins County. I'm angry with Sumner County. I'm angry. I'm angry with the state of Tennessee that tells their public that they're too stupid to understand a circumstantial case. I'm tired. Everybody else can do it, but Tennessee. It's time for us to make major changes in Tennessee. I need everybody that's from Tennessee to be out there in their community saying, we've got to give up our government. I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican. It doesn't matter at this point. Tennessee is becoming a cesspool of bullcrap. And it's going to take all of us, even the people from out of state, making changes in that state to get that state like a well-oiled machine. But your children are in peril in the state of Tennessee. And I understand that parents sometimes stick their head in the sand. Thank God for people like me. Thank God for people like my channel members that actually want to do better in the community, even when your head is shoved in the sand like an ostrich. But you know what we do ask from each and every one of you out in Tennessee? We ask you to vote better, because we're fighting for your families. We're fighting for your children. We're letting you know where the corruption lives and exists in your communities. You deserve better. And when crime comes knocking at your door, you deserve law enforcement that's going to stand up and step up to the plate and do a great job. And you guys are being shafted by your current administration. Tim Burchett is probably the only person that I have utmost respect for in the state of Tennessee at this point. You have never heard me say anything negative or nasty about Tim. But Tim works right along with Anna. Here, Anna Paluna, whatever her name is. I got to be honest with you. I wasn't voting for her. I was voting for Christine Quinn. Christine Quinn is my friend. And I wasn't even looking at Anna. Actually, I actually found the paperwork that I had to try to destroy her career. So she couldn't be in there. To get a pathway for Christine. And so I actually ran across this paperwork. I kept it. You know me, I'm not going to get rid of, something that I've got over. So I still have it. But I got to tell you, I'm ultra impressed with Anna. How she has stayed true. That was my biggest thing. She was so young. And she was endorsed by Charlie Kirk. You guys know I have high regards for him and respect even after his death. But he really supported her, and I never understood what he saw in her until here recently. Until her standing up for everything that I would stand up for. Even supporting Mace and her wanting to show everybody, all the congressional people and their payoffs to, because they decided to SA people. And of course, our government shoots it down. They don't want anybody knowing how much predators we have serving our country. You guys should be on the phone with your government, demanding them support this initiative. And if they're unwilling to support this initiative, you need to be firing them because they're probably SAing interns. Did you know that? I am like flabbergasted here that our government is trying to hide something this upsetting from the public while they're taking our money. We need to be doing better. We need to be doing so much better. And trust me, these people will pass laws to hide theirs, right? They'll make us suffer because they don't want people looking under the hood and seeing what they're doing. We need to fire these SOBs. Anybody that went around and said that the public has no right to know who's being SA'd and paid off for being SA'd because of our Congress. Our Congress is doing this. And they're using slush funds, our taxpayer money, to pay these people off. Get the out of here with that. Just saying. Fire them all. Fire them all. We're going to start going after our federal government. I'm telling you, I'm getting to the point where our federal government is not working for us. Democrats or Republicans. Screw them all. Okay? No offense, Tim Burchett. We like you. But I'm ready to fire every damn one of you. We don't need our federal government at this point. It is absolutely not working for us. So I don't know where we're going to go from here, but I'm probably going to be on the campaign of stripping the federal government of taxpayer funds, stripping our federal, they're mismanaging the shit out of our money. We've been going without vacations, without putting food on our table, struggling. The middle class of America has struggled while these assholes have taken every penny from us. It's time to fire our federal government, folks. We need to start banding together. We really need to start banding together. This left and right, we need to let the fringe of our parties go. And we, the core people that love our nation and want better for our families and our children, we need to all come together and unite and fire our federal government. The entire fucking feds. Excuse my language. I'm not sorry. I will never be sorry. They need to go. Wrong one. They all need to go. There we go. So start passing around because you guys, word of mouth is the best way to get some initiative behind. but we're all being screwed. Okay, I'm so sick of this white-black issue to distract us from the reality of it. I'm so tired of the manipulation from our federal government to keep us at each other's throats so we can't see what the hell they're all doing. They're robbing us blind. Fire all of them. It's time to fire them all. All right, guys, God bless. We're getting off on a tangent. We will be back. It's already 7:18. We will be back at 9:30 for our regular show. It's going to be kicked off about a half an hour a little later than we normally do. But hey, you guys got an extra show in here about a beautiful boy, Michael Monkey Vaughan, which is, for most of us, matters to us because we've been covering this case and following this case and wondering if this beautiful baby is ever going to get justice. But now our fighting, our action items have changed a little bit because now we need to bring this boy home. Okay? We need to bring this boy home. We need to find out where he is and bring him home. He deserves to be home with his family. So, guys, that's going to be the show. You guys have an amazing day. We'll see you back around 9:30. God bless.